Here we go, here we go.
It's tax season. We don't have time to worry about this. What are you kidding me? We got a lot on our plate. We got to file all those tax reports. So I don't remember who told me that the emails that Congress really wanted to see were missing. Big, interesting back and forth. Becky Gerritson joins us now once again, the president of the Wetumpka Tea Party. She's previously testified about this ordeal because she is one of the people who is at the basis of this entire thing, because she tried to get tax-exempt status, and then she was asked all these questionnaires and things about what she prayed for and what she read, and it took, I don't know, a couple of years, right, Becky, for you to finally get it?
Yeah.
You just got it fairly recently, I think, right?
We got it in 2012,
Yeah.
But it took almost 2 years to get it.
Yeah, so when you sit back and you watch this back and forth last night, what goes through your mind, Becky?
I can sum it up in 2 words. I think fear and dismay. I'm dismayed at the present, and I'm very fearful for the future. We're seeing a fundamental transformation, a fundamental shift of how the government treats its citizens. And it's very alarming to me. And what I'm seeing last night as I watched, it was just becoming political theater, the right versus the left. And I don't want the story to get lost, that I was just a wife and mother. And I spoke out against my government. And I started an organization with like-minded people so we could educate the public on what's happening. And the IRS came after me. And there are hundreds of us like this. And that part of the story is getting lost.
Yeah,
this really did happen.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. And I think people need to remember that, because there's a impetus, I guess, in some quarters, and you don't even see this story on the front of most newspapers. I went through all the newspapers this morning. It wasn't there, but you've got a government sort of in name who is a democratic government, and yet you have somebody like yourself and the hundreds of others who you talk about who wanted to make a statement, wanted to get involved in what was going on in the country, and were basically shut down. And you were shut down through an election process in all of that. And now I think we are getting into a position where it's all becoming to a point where some people at home say, oh, who cares? Who cares about the emails? But you're trying to get people to focus on the basic fact that they may not have freedom of speech.
That's right. Definitely our rights were violated. So many friends that I know that were in this targeting scheme, their lives were turned completely upside down by the IRS. And it is the weaponizing of government against its citizens, and it must stop. We must get to the bottom of it. And I still do not believe emails are not lost. They are there, and we need a special prosecutor in this case.
What do you believe, when you look at it has become all about these emails, because as was established, you've got the White House interested in the Citizens United case. They're saying that they think that it's going to basically empower people who they don't want to see empowered in the political process. And then you have Lois Lerner, who wrote emails that suggested that they needed to do something about this, I believe was the quote. Do you believe that these emails connect Lois Lerner to the House that everyone is seeing on the left-hand side of their screen right now?
Absolutely. And, they also were planning a scheme with the Department of Justice to piece together criminal charges against people like myself with no evidence whatsoever. And they also wanted to get the FEC involved. So we have a multi-agency effort to persecute American citizens, and people better wake up, because it will not get better. It will get worse if it is not addressed.
How do you feel about the fact that the Justice Department doesn't appear willing to do anything? We hear all this talk about, oh, we need a special prosecutor, but you can't get a special prosecutor unless you can get the White House and the Justice Department on board. Do you think you'll ever see the end of this? Do you think you'll ever learn the truth?
I am thinking that if we have enough outpouring of public support, we can get a special prosecutor, and I'm going to keep pushing for that. But I'm wondering, is it time for a select committee like they had on Benghazi? We know illegal things were done. And the Democrats want to say that this is a conspiracy and there's nothing to see here. Well, they need to talk to the victims, and they need to read the reports and the lawsuits and see much damage has been done, and people need to be held accountable.
Yeah, the White House said they wanted to get to the bottom of it. Have they ever approached you or any of your, the people who are in the same boat as you are to say, well, what happened to you exactly?
No, I've never been contacted by the FBI, and it was only a few weeks after the president said this was a horrible thing, he comes out and says it's a phony scandal, and then months later there's not a smidgen of evidence. of corruption. So it's all just such a mess.
Becky, thank you very much. I think it's
you.
important to keep an eye on the big issues.